Okay, so we're here with Kira Place, the JFR program assistant. We are going to be interviewing her as an alumni. All right, so I have several questions for her. So we're going to start off with, what is a typical day for you currently?
So, the thing I love about this job is that there isn't no typical day, you could say. I'd say most mornings you end up like checking your emails, seeing what's kind of on the docket, but then it just really depends on what season it is. So if it's the springtime, we're usually busy with processing applications or getting those applications in, scheduling interviews, and then starting to plan for training for the summertime. And then once all the crews are on in the summertime, then your typical day can really just go out the window depending on what comes up in the morning. So you're usually fielding calls from different crews and helping them out with anything that they need, or going to spend some time with some crews on their bases. And then the fall is just getting ready for recruitment and everything. So I wouldn't say there was a typical day, but every day is something new and challenging, which you can count on as typical.
Fair enough. Now I know you've had a pretty awesome path to where you are, so do you just want to kind of explain your path to get to your current position?
Yeah. Well, I always knew that I wanted to work outside, so I started looking into post-secondary programs that would allow me to do that, and I found the NAIT Forestry Tech program. So that's what got me started working outside. And in the seasonal summers, when I wasn't at school, I would work in wildfire doing helitack. I did that for a couple years. And then I found my way into developing more of like my leadership abilities and outdoor skills through a course on the coast. And that led me to working with youth at the time. So I was teaching youth about outdoor education on the West Coast. And I thought, like, there's got to be a way to combine these two things with youth mentorship in the outdoors with my previous experience in wildfire management and like forest technology. So that kind of is what led me to JFR, and I have been here ever since.
Awesome. Yeah, do you kind of just want to briefly explain like the on the coast, like what it is, that kind of program that got you kind of introduced to working with youth?
Absolutely. So it was I do 5-day sailing trips. They're called Sailing Educational Adventures, sea programs on the coast. We take out junior high students and teach them all about coastal conservation, biology on the West Coast, take them kayaking, nature hikes, course sailing, and generally just being in a group of like-minded people in an outdoor setting. And it kind of ends up being more like a social experiment maybe than a science trip, but we get to combine a bit of both. And it was just amazing to see how much youth can get from these experiences of being outdoors and working with each other and figuring out like the little problems that you see on a daily basis that you wouldn't have to deal with in a normal job, and just how much growth you can get from that. So that really drove my passion for youth.
Awesome. So you were a leader on a hack crew before JFR. What was it about JFR that stood out to you?
I'd have to say the diversity. I know everybody thinks that hack or wildfire management is this really cool job, and every day you're jumping out of helicopters and going to different parts of the province. And while some of that is true, it is an amazing job, and I loved every second of it, and I don't regret any of it. It doesn't have the same diversity as JFR does. So JFR, you never know what you're going to do. On a typical week, you could be hanging out with a fish and wildlife biologist, And then the next day you could be working for like a lumber mill and getting a tour of their mill and planting some trees. Then you could be getting some certificates, whether that's your first aid certificate, ATV, canoe certificate. And a lot of those things I never would have had the chance to do in Hack. In fact, it was only until JFR that I had ever climbed a wildfire lookout tower, despite working around them for 3 years. It's just not something that you got to do as a part of your job. You didn't get to climb the tower. When JFR, you're given those unique looks into those different careers.
Awesome. So I have a few curveballs for you.
All right.
But some of these questions you do know. So if you were stranded on a deserted island,
Yeah.
what would be your top 3 items that you would bring?
Ooh. All right. Deserted island. Probably some matches or some sort of fire starter, a flint and steel, something like that would last a while because I don't trust myself rubbing 2 sticks together.
Fair enough.
I don't think I'd be able to do that.
Have you ever tried that?
Yeah.
Successful, unsuccessful?
Very unsuccessful. Very unsuccessful. If anybody can show me the trick, I want to know. Something for water, probably. So like water purification of some sort, because beaver fever would suck really bad on a deserted island by yourself. And just for fun, like a ukulele or a guitar or something.
Yep. Fair enough. Right on. So, in your JFR experiences, what are some attributes of individuals who had the most successful summer as a crew member and then as a crew leader as well?
Great question. I think this would apply for both members and leaders. People that tend to be more successful are those who are adaptable and willing to just kind of roll with the punches as they come and problem solve. So someone that, say your project takes a turn in the morning and instead of climbing the lookout tower like you're really looking forward to, instead you're going to go work on some invasive weed control in the local municipality, and someone that will be successful either as a member or a leader will just like take that as it comes and still have a positive attitude about it, just like willing to take that opportunity as the opportunity that it is and see it from like a positive perspective. People that are just like willing to try new things as well. It kind of like ties into it. You don't necessarily have to be like the outdoorsman that has gone like hunting every summer or winter. If you're just like willing to try those new things and like keep a positive attitude while you're doing it. Like adapting to the snowfall right now. Loving it because we have a campfire. Yeah, those are some hard skills.
Awesome. So I'm going to ask you this as you're breaking up some wood.
Okay.
What is one story you would like to share about JFR? This could be something that happened to your crew, or when you were a leader, or since you became the program assistant.
What I was thinking of on the way up here is we're coming along Lake Center, and this is where I was a leader in my second year with JFR. And one of the very first projects that we did was working on creating this sign that's in Athabasca. So just as you drive into Athabasca, if you haven't been there, it's a town right along the Athabasca River, so you kind of drive down into the town site, but you can look across the river, and up on the hillside there's a big white sign that says "Keep Alberta Green" and "Help Prevent Forest Fires." And like growing up in this area when I was way much younger, I would like see that sign, and over time you would see that people had gone up there, and it didn't always say forest fires. Sometimes it said forest fires because some of the letters were missing. But one of the first projects we did when we were based here is that me and my crew got to rebuild the sign. So we took everything down, we cut the boards, we painted the boards, we put them all together, we're putting them up on the hillside, and it was just such like a memorable project because it was the first one kind of the season, and we all got to just like work together and see the fruits of our labors. And every time now I'm like coming through the area, and I still get to see that sign and then like think back to JFR, and that sign's kind of been like a bookmark of different points in my life, and just seeing how it's evolved is pretty unreal. So I always think back to that crew and being here when I see that.
Nice. How would you describe the color purple to somebody who is blind?
I knew it!
I changed up the color from yellow, so...
Purple. Alright. So... I would use other senses. So... Oh gosh. Jello. Okay. Let's go with the Jello. You know when you have that blue raspberry Jello, then you mix it with like a strawberry Jello, and if you imagine those two tastes in your mouth, that is purple. I don't know if I'm just going with primary colors there, which also nobody can see if they're blind, but yeah, that or maybe like bundled up by the fire with like a cup of hot chocolate on a cold wintry day. So it's that feeling of like warmth, but everything around you is kind of cold, but in your little spot is warm. Yeah.
I have no idea.
We're gonna stop there. Those ghost words.
I have no idea. Sorry, that was a tough one.
Good, purple.
Yeah. What is your dream job?
This is a toss-up. There's so many cool jobs out there. I imagine my ideal job is something very similar, honestly, to this position that I have now, just because I get to do so much, and it's never the same. It's not like you show up at the office and like punch your little cue card and answer some phone calls all day and go home and that's your job for the whole year. Every day you get to do something different, and I get to be outside, but I also get to network with people in different streams of the government and like find ways to work together for the betterment of like all of the JFR programs. So I think a job that is like dynamic, flexible, that I have a little bit of control over is definitely my dream job. So probably this. We can just keep JFR going, please.
You got it. Right on. If you were the CEO of a company, name one thing you would make compulsory in the office and one thing you would ban in the office.
Nice one. I think I would make compulsory to do some sort of like team building exercise every year, but nothing, not like a team building exercise where you're like, let's do personality tests in the office. No. We got to see how people actually do when they're maybe a little bit stressed or things like that, and how people like work together. So something like this, like coming out to a place like this where you can like camp out in like cabins for the night, and you're sitting around a campfire and everybody's getting kind of dirty, and you probably burnt your supper, and like the most comfort you get is from a cup of coffee. And just seeing how people interact in that dynamic, and being able to build that team morale and like trust within the team. I would definitely make compulsory. Things I would ban, probably ban those single-use Keurig coffee pods.
Yes.
The McCafe ones. I don't care if you're compostable. The wrapper that you're wrapped in is plastic and that is not compostable. So just ban the whole thing. Get a pretty sweet coffee machine that everybody can use. But you're not throwing away something.
Agreed. Yeah, I like it. What is one thing you have learned or completed through JFR that you never thought you would?
Well, second to climbing a fire tower, which is pretty sweet. Probably being able to advance my chainsaw skills to the point where I'm now able to teach others and instruct others on the use of chainsaw, especially the JFR crews. That was something I could never have imagined when I was just working on a hack crew running a chainsaw. I thought, like, hey, this is it. I'm gonna know how to run a chainsaw and make firewood, and that's kind of it. But I've gotten to like expand those skills, and you really learn a lot more through like teaching others. So I've been really lucky to have that opportunity.
Yeah. I believe it was your idea that we got trained up on chainsaw training.
Great minds think alike.
Okay. What else do I got here for you? If you were a tree, what type of tree would you be?
Ooh, that's a good one. A tree that is not native to Alberta.
Not one of the 5 species that.
Yeah, not one of like the five trees that we have. No, there's a tree on the west coast, a Douglas fir. So kind of similar to like our balsam firs, but they have these big, thick bark plates that are like an armor for the tree. And if anybody's been out to the west coast, you know that those trees grow massive, and people will actually like use them instead of rock climbing. You like climb a Douglas fir tree just because the bark grooves are so big. And like the wood is so resilient inside, it kind of grows in like a big spiral, and it's actually named after a British shipwright back in when they were like exploring North America, because it was such like a strong tree that they used the big trunks for masts on ships, because that spiral, they don't like bend and just like snap, which you don't want a sailing boat mast to do in the wind. You need it to be able to like bend in different directions. Pretty resilient, pretty strong, very fire resistant, and they stand super tall above everybody else in the forest. They live a long time, so you Douglas fir.
Right on. Yeah, that's kind of all my questions I had for you. So.
Oh, phew. You can relax.
Thank you very much for taking the time today to do the interview. So, yeah, until next time, we'll keep these things rolling.
Absolutely.
Right on.